I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Morgan Township work session on April 25th, 2022 at 6:14 p.m. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
And Mr. Huff?
Yes.
All right, we're here to discuss our email account and website options that since we had Google accounts and it was all relatively either free or relatively inexpensive, and Google has changed their price structuring, and now we are going to look at other options since we have to pay for it to meet the needs of all the departments in the township. So we have Chris Brucker from Oxford Computer Solutions tonight.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to switch the screen so I can present?
You want a lapel so you're not trying to reach over?
I can do this. We'll be all right. It's not one to connect. Shocker.
Will this be one thing that we get changed to?
I'm not going to go get my computer for you.
Try it again. There we go. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff up here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So Google is, as we've talked about, they're discontinuing the free tier of service that we've used since the township got a website and email address. They are allowing us to upgrade to their paid tier of services. That's this starter plan. This is basically what we're on now, and it's $6 a month per account that we have going forward. They have a level above that. What that gives us is additional storage. I don't really see anyone in the township storing that much in the cloud that we need to go to that plan, but it is the next option if we wanted that additional storage space and to be able to store email for a longer period of time. The largest email accounts, we can go department by department, but there's only a couple gigabytes that people are using in their email accounts. So we're nowhere close to any kind of storage limits. Another option that I've discussed with Assistant Chief Griffith is going from Google to Microsoft. So one thing that we pay for every computer in the township is a Microsoft Office license. A lot of those, you used to be able to buy them, and you could use them for years. And you can still technically do that, but they eventually go end of support, they stop getting updates and things. So it's recommended that you go and purchase a new version of Office. Microsoft still offers those what they call a long-term release, so you can buy it and use it for several years for one flat fee. But they are wanting to discontinue that and move people to a subscription model. And the subscription model is what they call Office 365. They offer two different versions of that. One version is the E1 license, which is just basically like Google today. You get a web-based version of Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. So So everything is web-based. You would not be able to use Office on your actual computer like you do today. They offer an E3 plan, which gives you, it's the same email service and things, but it gives you an entitlement to run the Office software on a computer. So what I was sort of thinking is if we do go the route of using Microsoft, possibly have like department heads, officers, things like that, that actually have a dedicated computer, have them use the E3 license. My screen wants to sleep.
So how much is that?
That is $22 a user a month.
Wow.
So it is expensive, but the alternative is you spend $300 for Office per Township computer, and then you can potentially use that for another 4 or 5 years. So it is a little cheaper to buy the one-time license.
You feel my frustration yet?
And the historical societies.
Every time we use it.
I never have any problems with it.
You're the only one.
Every time we use it, it's a nightmare.
Let me try this again. Okay.
Just don't let your
Yeah, don't let it go.
screensaver come in.
Okay, so the E1 is still more expensive than Google's plan. The big selling feature of Office is that it's Microsoft, it's trusted, everybody typically sends a Word document, Excel document, whatever. We have Google today. I'm sure if we talk to Chief and the other people, you go to Microsoft Excel and Word to type something. You're not going to Google Docs and typing things there.
Or Google Sheets.
Or Google Sheets, yeah. So, it never really caught on here at the Township. People, I don't really think they're using it, storing stuff there. The people that are using Google Drive, it's Google Drive, but it's storing their Microsoft Office files. So, we do need to upgrade Office if we're gonna stay that route, or we can go and purchase the Microsoft licensing and move our email system over to that. As far as the other benefit to Microsoft is that they have their Teams conferencing, video conferencing platform. So that's like a WebEx or a Zoom, but Microsoft's version of it. So you can host meetings virtually, you can attend, you don't need a license to attend it, but you can host virtual meetings. So if the Township is currently paying for a Zoom or a WebEx license, we might be able to discontinue that and use Teams. A lot of companies are now using that as an alternative. So that's the other big selling feature of going Microsoft versus going Google. Google has their own meeting program. A lot of people just don't use it. It's not as well known. So it's not that it doesn't work, but majority of things people are using Google for here is just email. They're not really using it for much else of a, creating documents and things.
So are we currently paying the $300 for the Microsoft Office license for a couple years now? Are we doing that now?
Most of that is paid when your computers were installed, and it hasn't been updated in
Okay.
several years. A lot of the computers are still running like 2013 versions of Office.
Yeah, and the issue is sometimes it locks up, and I have to call Chris because we can't. If somebody sends us a presentation in PowerPoint today, and we go to do a training, it won't play it.
Okay.
And we've gone back and forth, and he gets it through for us, but it's on a case-by-case basis, which can be frustrating. And it's happened to me. I know on my computer alone, I've called him 3 times because I can't look at documents that people have sent me.
Yeah, so it's just, we we have to repair Office and install an update so that it'll start working to play the newer presentations. And, you know, Microsoft offers new licenses. It's just something we've never put money into because what we had worked. And that's the same way with Google. They announced that this free license was going away several years ago, but they said, you're grandfathered in, you can keep it. And now they finally are laying the hammer down that it's going away in July. So, this is a tough one to make a recommendation on. Given what the township uses it for, it seems like staying on Google and keeping a Google just basic account for $6 a month seems like the way to go. You guys have a Google website, you use Google Calendar for the community center and for the trustee meetings and things. We use YouTube to broadcast everything. Decoupling Google and Microsoft and kind of splitting things up, it's going to be expensive. So I laid out estimated cost of what it would take to move accounts from one place to the other, and you can see here it's thousands of dollars worth of work to move them from one service to the other. Another option we have is to do a split. So for the people that have Microsoft Office today, maybe we migrate them to a full Microsoft account. So I'm thinking like chief, assistant chief, some of the officers at the fire department, Tina, Rob, Dale, you know, the folks that have a township computer that are actively using and creating stuff, move them to a Microsoft account, but keep most of the fire department. Some of the people that we have, you know, assisting, opening up the town hall and things like that, they stay on a Google account. Maybe even the trustees too, because you guys don't necessarily use your email, your township email and things on it all the time. You know, and it would save the township a little bit of money if you stayed on a Google account versus a Microsoft account.
So can you have both and they'll talk to each other? Like if we kept the website in Google
They're
and our
compatible.
Google calendars, we can make, but if Dale and AC are on Microsoft, can they enter?
They would not be able to enter it, but there is a potential workaround. The AC has accounts that would be Google, so all the tablets for the fire department and things, they need to stay Google in order to keep the software working for that. He could use one of those accounts and potentially edit the website. It's not super pretty, but you know, it is possible that we can split it between some people on Microsoft, some people on Google. There's a lot of companies that do that.
Can we just keep everybody on Google and just pay and upgrade the Office on the computers that people use them?
There is, yeah. So we can do that a couple of different ways. We can buy a one-off license so it'd be like Microsoft Office 2022. It's about $250 to $300 per computer that needs it. So again, you're probably looking at a few $1,000s there. And then if, you know, in a couple more years, we'll have to do that again, just to keep Office current.
But you'll probably be getting new computers at that point, so you'd have to put it on anyway, right?
Right. What we've done is we bought a big multi-pack of licenses several years ago, and we just recycle those licenses from when somebody gets a new computer. So when you buy a new computer, it doesn't necessarily come with Office. We bought a large pool of licenses. We use that over and over again. They also offer this $9 a month option, which is basically this computer gets Office updates forever. You pay $9 a month instead of one big hit all at once. The
But you'd
benefit-
still have to have the $22, so it'd be,
No. So this would be if we were to stay Google, you're looking
Okay,
at $6
all right.
a month for email and storage, and then a $9 a month for the
Microsoft.
Microsoft.
Okay.
Now, Tina is kind of the exception to that because her office is paid for by the UAN. So they provide that and support that. I don't do anything with it. way that it works is that gets assigned to a person. So like we could assign it a license, and then if he logs in the training room or one of the other machines, it would work.
So you said about every 2 to 3 years, you have to
They
upgrade
release
that?
it about every 3 years, yeah.
So if you say $300 divided by 36 months, you're probably close to that $9, and you don't ever have to worry about, you're going to
It's
get all your upgrades.
it's always updated, it's always the
Yeah,
most current
right.
version, we
Yeah.
never have to
I
screw
think
with
that,
it.
if we're going to do that, I think that would be better than buying the individual license. Just put the $9 per month fee.
Yep. And that would avoid having to do migrations and all of that. We potentially stay Google for email and then just move Microsoft licenses on the computers that need it.
So what do you guys, that use it every day, what are you thinking?
I think personally, we should stay with Google and use the licenses, and that way we're okay, because 365 can be kind of glitchy.
Oh, my old desktop at home had 365.
Yeah.
I downloaded it and I absolutely hated it. It locks your computer up for
Right.
a
But if we-
long length of time trying to convert an old Word document to the new, and it's
And then we wouldn't have to
horrendous.
worry
you're-
about
You're in
migrating.
agreement, stay with Google?
yeah,
and-
yeah. And I
I
will also
absolutely am.
say, go ahead, Chief.
I'm absolutely, because then you wouldn't have to migrate anything, and
Right.
anytime you migrate, you run the risk of losing data. I mean, there's a chance.
Definitely.
And also, everything we have in Drive would be the same. It's much more simpler. And the other advantage with that would be, and if I'm not wrong, Chris, tell me, but if I logged on to my Microsoft at home and I wanted to do it, I could do work from home and look at it the way I could do it here, which would be a big help if you just had to do something real quick. Because not every computer I have at home has Microsoft Office, and this is the only place I use it. But if I wanted to do something, or Chief did, or he was on deployment, or whatever it might be, it would be nice to have that functionality to use it wherever we are at the time.
And I think our Zoom account's not $159
Well, they gave us a
year or
rebate
something.
because everybody's going back in the office. They actually lowered Zoom this year to like
Yeah.
125 or something.
And of the three, WebEx is the worst. Teams is kind of weird to get back and forth in the pages, and then there's Zoom is like the easiest of the three. So anybody ever says, "Hey, I got a WebEx program to log on to," I'm like, "Oh God." But I just know I've had bad
Yeah.
luck with 365. So if
We
we
just like
could
to
stay
give
with
the-
what we got and just
Yeah,
do
and give
the
the app to
upgrades.
all the officers, and that way everyone using it, and I think that would be the best way to go, personally.
That's my feedback
Guys
as
got
well.
anything, Dave?
I only have one question. What's causing the presentation glitches that we have? You know, everything else sounds pretty cut and dry. We know what we're gonna do
Right.
for satisfaction with the key users, but does
Again, we were
this,
on the cheap. We did it, that's a free version.
so will this, when we go to this profile, will it help us on the presentation side?
The presentation that we have here in the room, that's a totally separate issue. That there's a device that we have, the click box, that it locks up and freezes and needs to be reset in order for people to start presenting. And on my computer, the program just crashed when the computer went to sleep. So it's not the,
It's interesting,
Not-
mine never does. I've never had it crash on me.
I don't know.
Every time I get on, and it's not that I don't know what I'm doing.
I know.
Every time, I mean, at Fire Chiefs Association meeting,
Yes.
Historical Society meeting, every time they want to do a presentation, it's just like, and I've got it all loaded on John Stowe's computer. It's there. I mean,
Yeah.
all he has, like you, all he has to do is click on. And I had to move him off of guest onto staff. And then I was able to get him in one time. You know, there's all these little workarounds. You gotta play all these games. And it's like,
Yeah, that we can look into getting a system like we have at the fire station where it's a more reputable manufacturer. It's expensive. So when we put these TVs and the whole presentation system in here, we went for a little bit of cheaper route for the presentation system. And I think it's starting to show its stage.
I don't think initially we were planning to use it as much as we do.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just planning to live stream the meetings, and that's why we did it the way we did it. But it's being used a lot,
Yeah,
so.
it really is. Because, I mean, Thursday night I'll use it to show my staff comments and everything else on the hearing, the variance hearing.
I'm sure
So
you use it for land use.
We've used it for land use. We use it for zoning. So, you know, and of course, I use my computer in here.
Right.
Well, now, your program right now hasn't timed out on you, so.
No, I keep moving the mouse so that it doesn't go.
Oh.
As soon as my computer goes to sleep, it killed the.
Well, now, why doesn't Dale have that problem?
Because Dale has set his sleep mode to be about an hour.
Yeah.
So that's all it takes? That's the fix
Well,
then?
That's
the
not
fix.
necessarily.
That's
not
one
always.
problem, that's one issue.
It has multiple. Sometimes
Okay.
it was hard to even get connected.
So when will we be able to fix the problem? I guess that's what I'm
I
asking.
can get some pricing together for you.
Okay.
It would involve purchasing a new system.
And how much would that run?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're
I have to
talking-
find, so the system that was put in at the fire station, I partnered with another company to do it.
What did we pay for that?
For that one component, I'm not sure, because
Okay.
it was a fixed package deal.
Package deal.
Yeah, I'm just, is there any kind of a ballpark that would we talking 100,000 or
No, no, no.
$2,000?
I would say probably 3,000 seems.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not a simple thing, and I wanted to provide a couple different options. Because
Okay.
there's one that's identical to what the fire station has, then there's others that they plug into the computer and that makes the secure connection, so there's a couple different options. that we
Okay.
can do. So I can come in a future meeting and present on that if you want.
Yeah, that kind of sounds good.
Okay.
You got anything? So I guess we're leaning toward the $9 a month for, $6 for Google, and then the $9 for the
The computer.
lifetime for the.
Is that a
And that
one-
wouldn't be
That's a
for all,
month.
that wouldn't be for all computers, though, that would be just,
We'd have to figure out and designate accounts. So
Right.
the way that it works is every 30 days, somebody has to sign in to Office on one of those computers. So like if you gave it to an officer, say like the shift commander computer, somebody has to log into that and sign into it, and then it activates it for another 30 days. That's kind of how it works.
So then, for those type of people, it'd be $15 a month, and then for us who just log on to our email, it would be $6 a month.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
and if you're using your home email, there's no sense in having a Morgan Township.
Well, you got to check it because people are sending
Well,
emails to,
What,
unless we could change it on the website.
you could change it on the website, or I think what he's been doing is anything that comes into Morgan Township automatically goes to your personal.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
If that's not working, let me know, but that's how it was designed for both.
'Cause I know-
Both
Okay.
of your accounts, that they send it to the Morgan Township, and it puts a copy of it there, but it also sends it along to you.
Your
Okay.
personal.
And I'll have to check on that to make sure that they don't want to charge a fee to do even that. Because
Okay.
technically, they're receiving the message, and it just sends a copy of it to your other address, so we may have to still pay for that.
Okay. But when's this shut down? July what?
They're extending it to the end of July.
Okay.
So as long as we make a decision in the next couple of months. If we're not doing a migration, literally all I have to do is put a credit card on file and we can do it. And I don't know if you have a preference, Tina, on, do you want me to just send a bill? Or do you want to have the township bill for that?
It doesn't make any difference. I prefer not to have them do a direct debit to the bank account if we can avoid that.
That would be how they would set it up.
As long as it says what it's for, because a lot of these payments that are on the bank account and deposits, it takes a while to figure out where they're coming from and going to, because they are not explanatory at all.
Yeah, it would just say Google.
Oh,
And there would
that,
be.
as long as it has on there what it's for, then
would-
it
would
won't be a
two-
problem.
Two charges, so we have two separate Google accounts today, one for the morgantownship.org and one for the morgantownshipfire.org. Another thing that I wanted to bring up to discuss is there any interest in possibly having everyone we split them out originally was we got 50 licenses on each account for free. So we split them so that the fire department stayed free, and because at one time there were so many fire members that we were close to that 50 user threshold. So we split. That's the whole reason they're split today.
So explain how it would work when you said you would,
Yeah, so basically what would happen is everybody's email would, even the fire department, would be at morgantownship.org, but we would have like a link in there, so everybody that's still using the Morgan TWPFD still, the mail still comes through there, but basically from a billing standpoint, it comes in one bundle. Everything is under Morgan Township instead of a bill for the township and a bill for the fire department.
so the users wouldn't see any difference, it's just the billing?
Well, you could have the option of saying, well, I'm now Jay Griffith at morgantownship.org instead of Morgan TWPFD.
Well, it might be okay for a bill to come for the township personnel and a bill to be extracted for the fire department. That way, you know what to pay for who.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here's a quick
Because I
question
have to
is,
do paperwork on
since
it
I
anyway.
have both, would you be able to eliminate one of them to where just, that
Yeah.
way I get all fire emails and township emails just to,
You're actually the reason that gave me the idea, because we have an account, a fire account and a township account for you, because you have both. And because they're two separate things, we had a problem getting email sent. Like, you would miss out on fire department emails because he had a township account, so that's why we created him a fire account. We fixed that now, because even the trustees, I think, get fire department emails. But, we can keep them separate, we can lump them together. It's really just more of a, I guess, a housekeeping item
Because
for
I
you
wouldn't know
on
how
the
much
bill.
to charge the fire department for theirs
Yeah.
versus here.
Gotcha.
That might be better.
Keep them split.
And then if we did bundle them together and you said like they could have a Morgan fire, Morgan TWP fire account, and then they can have a like Jay Griffith at morgantownship.org, we would be paying for that. Would they be able to create that account on their own, or would they have to go through like an administrator to create an account? Because then we were going to get that $6 a month charge, right, for every
Right,
account.
So AC today is the admin for the fire department email accounts. So if somebody new comes on, he gets them an account. If somebody comes off, he deletes their account. So as far as that goes, yeah, anytime we add a new fire department personnel, there will be an increase, and then they prorate that based on what time of the month you had created. So for the most part, I think you're not adding a bunch or removing a bunch. When we went through this, there's a few accounts we can delete now that we don't have to end up paying for, but I think roughly we're still looking at, let's see here. Just add this up real quick. There'd be 36 fire department specific ones, 2 for the road department, and then I think 10 for the township. Oh, I got the total.
Because I was going to migrate the tablets to a free Gmail.
Does that include the 36, the tablets?
The tablets are included in that
But
right now. didn't
I can save us,
That'd be seven
I-
accounts.
yeah, I can save us 7 accounts by just giving each, it'll be a little time consuming, but it's not a big deal for free. I just give them free Gmail accounts.
Okay.
I think, because it's all they use is to make an Android work. There's no reason to have these expensive accounts when I can get free.
All right.
Yeah, so there's 48 total. If you take out the tablets, we're 41.
Okay. All right. Anything else? You got any other?
So we do need to talk about the phone system.
Yes.
The Vonage contract comes up also in July. We were originally on the documents that I had said we were on a 5-year deal. Apparently at some point that got changed to a 3-year, so we've been going year to year, and basically kind of month to month now, for the last couple years. So the agreement sort of auto-renewed last year, and I didn't catch it in time. So we have an option to look at other providers, and I have a couple of options if we want to talk about that. I know I was a little late, and we only got about 15 minutes, so if you want to get into it.
You got a few minutes if you want to just at least give us the highlight of it.
Yeah, so, Vonage, when COVID originally hit, they got rid of all of their phone-based support and they went 100% email support only. They will allow you to pay for phone support at a cost of like $3 a month per phone line that you have. So it's really expensive just to be able to talk to somebody on the phone. So here's what you're currently paying a month with Vonage. It's $564.40 roughly. If that's too small, is that better?
Yeah,
Size
okay,
better?
now I can see it.
Okay. So, this is what you're paying for right now. I've talked to a couple other companies that I work with, and we can save a little bit of money if we were to switch providers. So here's one option. It's about $150 less than what you're paying with Vonage today. Has all the same features. We went through, 6-7 years ago, and we moved everybody from the analog phone lines to the digital system. Once you're on a digital system, we don't have to buy new phones or anything. All the phone equipment that we have works. But AC can attest to this. It took us like a month and a half to get a Shift Commander phone to work because Vonage flat out didn't know how to provision it for us. We sent them the information, we went back and forth in email, and just day after day after day until we finally got the right person that could help us. So if a phone breaks down, these other providers have a control panel that I can go into and add a new device within a few minutes. So it's just, the system that we're on with Vonage, they just don't offer that. I even asked if there were other systems that they do offer that we could move to, and they said, well, your plan's gonna increase in price if we move you to a different plan. So they don't even wanna entertain like a competitive bid for keeping service. The customer service is really just horrible. So, something else that I wanted to bring up is we have analog fax lines that we've kept. There's one at the fire station. There's 3 here in this building. We kept those for the alarm systems, and I think all the alarm systems were switched over to cell phone a year or so ago. We don't necessarily have to have the analog phone lines anymore. One provider here has them for $7.99 a month. You currently pay about $30, $31 a month for every fax line. You got 4 of them. So it's an opportunity to save a little bit of money every month by
Because
switching.
I don't think I've faxed a single thing since I've been here.
There's very little usage. In fact, most of them, I think the fire station had a few minutes used, but
Can't we go to like an e-fax?
Me and you fax once in a while.
we can do e-fax. The tricky part becomes you have to assign it to a person's account. So like, if I took the fax number for fiscal officer, I could assign it to Tina's account, but I'd have to do it like, we'd have to figure out what to do with the fire station and the trustees. We have to put it on somebody's account, and it goes to an email box.
Yeah, like the one back there in that office, we don't need. I mean, we don't even have the faxes that were coming into the printer. We're not even using that printer anymore. And most of them were ads.
That's it. That's what we get is
It's
ads.
ads. So we
Ads.
didn't even put new printer ink in the printer because it was just wasting.
Yeah. since
Paper and
I-
money.
Since I have that new brother, I don't even have it hooked up to a fax.
Okay.
So, maybe if we just had like 1 or 2 dedicated fax, one in the firehouse and one in the admin building, and everything goes to one central location, and somebody periodically takes a fax and puts it in somebody's mailbox if it's for them.
Well, with an e-fax though, that's the problem. It goes to your email.
Right, I'm saying if we don't,
Somebody would have to print off like it comes as an attachment, basically.
right.
So
But
if
Would
you
that,
guys are
would,
okay
would there
with
be a
that.
charge for that?
No, that is included with it's not included with Vonage, but with the other two, that is included with a
Okay.
regular seat. We can set up an e-fax. There may be a charge because you want to keep the existing fax number, so we have to move that phone number over, and I think it's like $1 or $2 a month to keep the number, but then that's just so that they receive that number and send it off.
So if you wanted to send a fax, you would have to identify yourself with your phone number authorizing you to send a fax, and you could send it on any copier?
Well, that is where it would change a little bit too. So the copier at the fire station, and the copier here have a fax number associated with them. You can dial the number that you want to send a fax to, and it looks like it's coming from there. With an-
Oh, so anybody could send it, though?
Right.
It's
yeah,
not
you walk up to the
email
machine and
specific?
do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
With an e-fax, you would basically have to use it uses an email address and says, okay, I want to send it to this
Yeah,
place.
because I can go back to the Konica here and type in anyone's email address, right?
Right.
And send it, other than the ones that are on the fax itself. Like if I send one to Jeff, I just go and hit his email address on there.
Right,
It's in your-
that's
it's in
more
your
of a
contact.
scanned email than a fax.
Yeah.
Like if for some reason you had to fax something to, I don't know, the state for something, you would have to send it as like an email attachment at that point
Yeah.
to them. There's an application that would do it on the computer.
Okay.
Basically, you scan it to like a PDF file, and then you would use this program to send it along to their fax machine on the other side. But
So, is this fax in here work at all?
the one that's hooked to the copier does, and I think that's Tina's fax line.
But, I mean, I've still got them on my business card, so if somebody faxed me something, it wouldn't come through over here, right?
Correct, if you've got I think you probably have the trustee
2888?
fax line.
Huh?
The 2888 number,
2888,
you're not getting them.
try to make sense now. How long's that been? I mean,
Since you got reelected.
okay.
Those aren't the cards that we had before.
It's one I've had since I've been a trustee.
Well, I can get you a new one
Okay.
because that's not even,
That's
Yeah,
one
that,
close.
evidently that number ain't right. And voicemail?
okay. All right, I'll get you new ones.
Yeah, because we moved the trustees have a phone number too that goes into on your phone back there. And people call that and they can leave voicemails and stuff too. So I don't know if anybody's set up the voicemail password to get in there
No.
and check those.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Chris, the only question I have is, the Polycom phones that we have right now
Yeah.
would work with
With
Pantera?
any of these systems, yeah.
They don't
Yeah,
care?
They don't care.
Okay. Because the only thing I have about it is that I can't use my headset and let my headset pick up the phone and answer it. I still have to push that speaker button, the headset button.
Yeah, and that's something between your headset and the phone, regardless of the
Yeah, that's what I've learned.
carrier, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah,
The only other thing is any of like if you've got a phone book, like some of the phones have, like quick addresses programmed in there, to like auto dial these numbers. We would have to change those if we move providers, because the whole phone like resets
Right.
to link to the new company.
so I'd have to set up a
So,
whole new.
I don't know if you guys, I can get you more information and think about it. We don't have to make a decision now, but
Right.
it would be good to do this, try to make a decision by June. So, because it takes about a month to move all the numbers and stuff over. The phones don't go down during that time, but it transfers ownership from whoever owns the number today, whether that's Cincinnati Bell or Vonage, to whatever new company.
So it's kind of like ports them over to the new
Exactly.
carrier.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right, anything else? One real quick question. We had some issues at the community center where people were renting the back room. and utilizing the front room, because we cannot close, there's no door to close to lock the front room. And
Okay.
we can't do it because I talked with Andrew Browning, and fire code would say we have to put panic bars on all the doors, and we have to change the swing of the new doors that we just put in. So we talked it over and said, what about if we put a camera in the front room? Then if the cleaning person or the person that locks up the community center sees that somebody was in there, I can go back and look at the camera, and then I can contact the person that rented it and said, you only rented the back room, you used the front room, you owe us $150.
Okay.
So, if you could just put that in your things to do and come back with a quote on that.
Yeah, so the community center and the admin building are linked together with a VPN. So we do that for some of the idea was if we put a lock system or whatever down there, it's already built. So what that means is we could put a camera down there, just to plug in a camera like we do in all the other buildings, and it can talk to the recorder that's here at the admin building.
So we
And
could,
it'll show up in our camera system just like any other camera.
okay.
So you just basically be paying the cost of the camera and installation. We don't need a separate recorder and everything else down there,
All right.
unless you guys wanted it there. Because if the internet does go down, you wouldn't have the camera, but I don't know.
It's not, it doesn't happen all the time, it just happens. So I think if we could do it, what are you thinking for a camera and the installation?
I would say $300 for
All right.
everything
What do you
installed.
think of that?
The cost of the camera?
The camera's about $150, and then, somewhere between $100 and $150 in labor.
Yeah, 300 total.
300 total. Yep.
You want to do that, you want to do that tonight?
If you want to, I don't care. I mean,
Might as well.
okay, then you gotta make the motion.
Yeah. I'll make a motion that we install the cameras and the software necessary to observe the 2 rooms in the community center for security purposes.
Okay, so we're talking just one camera though?
Yeah, I think so.
Or two
Just, do
cameras.
you want two? You want one in the back?
Really just one. I think
Yeah.
it now depends on how you
put the second one. Oh, go ahead.
how you set it up. Can you watch what we need to be seen with one camera?
If you're just really wanting to know if somebody came into like that front room and they rented the back room, for
Yeah.
example, you could put one camera, I think, in the front room and kind of see if they go past the kitchen area there.
I think if we put it like above if you're looking at the building, the door on the right above that door, looking toward the kitchenette and the bathroom, that hallway where the bathrooms are off of, that would catch it.
Well, let's start out with one camera, and then if we feel like we need to go to a second camera, we can always add one.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I'll second it.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Huff?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Abstain.
Motion approved.
I abstain.
You- Mr. Brucker abstains.
All right, anything else?
I don't think so.
Nope.
You guys have anything
All right.
for me?
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn from the work session?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Huff?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes, we are
Motion
adjourned.
approved. That's gonna be, thank you. Sure. Lenora.
It's all